Hey guys, Shredding Shawarma here, and I thought it was about time I go over the mods on my Sur-ron. I've got well over $10,000 in it. That's including an extra battery and an extra half battery pack that goes right there, the harness. So let's get right to it. Front end. It's easier just to say what's stock. That's left. The caliper and the front brake handle. That's it. It's the only thing stock on the front end. The DVO forks, race spec front fender, Michelin Starcross soft front tire, which has always been my favorite front tire, even on my KTMs. It just grips like no other. Got a Renthal clamp with a spacer, Dydy handlebars, 3-inch risers. It only took 6 months to get those. Power Mad bark busters are the bomb, and they're, as well as bark busters, they're a little wider than the handlebars, so they're almost like feelers as well. Work really well for that. I just love it. Actually, the other stock thing on here is the Magura, or I mean the stock throttle is stock. I don't see a reason to get to Magura. You can't even get them anyways. I think I'd just get another Sur-ron and have it for backup. But it works fine for me. I don't know what people's complaints were with it. So it's set up perfect for me. Love the forks. I did replace the front rotor. So the front wheel is a milk wheel from Poland, 21-inch. And so with that, you can put a much meatier front tire on it, which grabs just incredible. And then the bigger rotor for stopping power for the bigger wheel. You need it. So that's the front end. And let's just keep going. So race spec, I believe it was the front fender I got from them. And I know for sure the bash guard. This bash guard, I think, blows away the steel and aluminum bash guards because it doesn't bend, scratch, rust, anything, and it glides over the logs and the rocks and everything, and it doesn't leave marks. Just, I guess, a little more friendly to that stuff. But more than anything, it works, and it's going to last forever. I don't see that thing breaking. Regen brake, foot pedal brake, the company NTC, right here, NTC Designs, and they make the rotor guard, which I'll show you in a minute, and they make this brake for the Sur-ron. You can get them to where they actually operate the caliper. Or what I did is it's electronic, and it's an engine brake and regen, and it's incredible. One of my videos, you'll see I made 1% in 7 miles. Sure, it was mostly downhill, but there was some flats, and you know, it was pretty sandy. It wasn't all just downhill, but yeah, made 1%, and at low battery charge also. So I went from like 32 to 33% in 7 miles. And it works great. It pulsates a little bit. It's not as good as a direct caliper brake, but it works. The spring, it's not on there right now because it's in my truck. I need to get a heavier duty spring because it wasn't coming back up all the way, especially if you've been riding in mud and stuff. So that's getting replaced. Foot pegs, automatic. I didn't even try this thing I didn't try riding this bike with the tires, the foot pegs. I had all this stuff, most of it ready to go on the bike. So I didn't even ride the bike stock. I didn't even want to. The brace in between the foot pegs is a must if you're heavy or if you do anything other than mellow street riding. Definitely you want it for the money. You have to have it. As you can see, it's got a back 4000 controller that is from Tesnik is the name of the company. and they were great. And so I had to work with them with the NTC foot brake. We actually had to, you know, get on the phone and reprogram the controller. It took some hours, but we got it done. They didn't charge me anything extra. It's incredible. It works great. I love the 4000. I don't want the more power because it's going to waste my battery. It's going to use up my battery. So it's that fine line. If anything I want, this bike is done. But the one thing I do want is the bigger battery, same size, but it's got, they've scrunched everything in there. I guess, I don't know what they did, but you get more juice out of it. So I'm all for that. What I really want is a one of those nuclear capsules from, you know, UFO. Put it in here, just run it forever. That'd be awesome. But I think that's probably not my lifetime. So what else? Okay, the other thing I did pretty much, yeah, not right away, but it didn't take me too long. So I ride in the woods, and so I had to have a 63 tooth sprocket to make it work. And this thing is finicky. I mean, you can nail it down to a tooth for what works for you. And so anyways, you got this big old steel sprocket on there. Thing weighs a ton. It hangs down. It takes up more chain links, which is more weight. So I was going to do it anyways. I went to the chain primary. There's no way I want to get stuck in the middle of BFE, and I ride in a lot of mud and a lot of snow, so the belt just wasn't going to work for me. So we went to the sprocket, and we went with the low geared sprocket. So going with the low geared primary sprocket, I was able to reduce my rear sprocket by 10 teeth. So weight savings in chain and sprocket, and then I bought a super sprox, and so it's all aluminum except for the very outside rim, which is steel. It's a little bit of money, sure, it's extra, but it's weight saved, and that's huge. And now I have a, you know, it's just kind of a normal looking sprocket. Doesn't hang way low or anything like this or like that. I am going through go-kart chain. I think it's 219, I think is what the size is. So I've got some on order right now, which is like the creme de la creme of the go-kart chain. So I'm hoping that lasts longer. We'll see, because the adjustment on these, if you go to the chain, you'll notice you don't get a whole lot of adjustment. You're pretty much maxed out after a couple months of good hard riding. Okay, what else? Rear suspension. So, as you can see, I have the prickly triangle. I did a 3/4 rise, and I forget who that was from. That might even be a race spec also. It's either race spec or prickly. And then I also, there's nothing wrong with this D&M rear shock. The only problem was it was not adjustable. And mine was, it just didn't have enough air in it. So what I did is I took it apart, and right there I put a valve in. And you can do it. It's so now it's an adjustable shock. It was a little bit of work, a little bit of definitely some you know, some backwoods engineering. So that is that. But now I love it. I have no reason to get it Fox shock or anything else. This thing, I don't sit down hardly, but for when I do have to sit down, it works great. But it's just higher, so when I'm going around a corner and I gotta sit down for a quick second or so, I'm not going down as far, so it's easier to get up. But you gotta have these for the 15 bucks or whatever. It saves your suspension. You just have to have it. So that was kind of a no-brainer. Trials tire, best thing I ever did. it makes such a difference going up the hills, going up rocky hills, and just wood terrain. The kind of terrain we have here in North Idaho is rocky, rooty. We have everything. And the Trials tire on my KTM was the hidden secret. We have a hill called Manly Man, which we'll be doing next month from doing the Talachi to Bayview ride. And on my KTM, I struggled. I really did. And when I put a Trials tire on it, it's a 1 mile hill climb, literally, and there's no brakes. And the Trials tire, it flew up it. It makes an incredible difference. And this thing is going on that ride this year. It's a 32-mile ride, Talachi to Bayview, and in it, it's an option. Manly Man Hill is an option, and we're doing it this year. We didn't do it last year. I just wanted to make it from point A to point B, which we did. So this year I have a half battery and 32 miles with Manly Man, and we're doing it. So the Trials tire, humongo, absolutely humongo. If you want traction, they look dorky, sure, but they work. That's what counts. To make this work, the kickstand came off first night. I never even had a kickstand on it from the get-go. So I did have to cut a little bit on this side, and then I also dished it over a little bit. I didn't want to do one or the other wholly and completely, so I did a little bit of both, and works great. Don't even notice a thing with any of this and or with the dish. And I think that's about it. But if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, and I'll answer if I can. I've had it a year now. It's been through a full season. It has never left me anywhere. I've never been stranded from the battery or anything else, except for one time, but we knew it was going to happen, and we got pulled back. No problem. That was right when I got the bike. It seems to happen to everybody. And then the rear brake, the caliper was not good, the stock one, so I bought I think it was a Shimano, SLX, and handle, and works great now. I think that's about it. Yeah, definitely contact me if you have any questions. And this bike is, for me, if you were to give me 20 grand right now to buy any bike I wanted, this is what I would get. I'd build another one, and with the better battery. But 4,000, not 8,000. Yeah, I am faster on this than my KTMs. I had a 200 and a 300. I'm faster on this in the woods than my KTMs, period. I'm almost 60 years old. I don't get arm pump. I don't get wore out. I could ride one day, then the next day. It's just, for me, it's a no-brainer. And I think for a lot of other people, it's a no-brainer. But stock out in the box, no, they don't work too well. But the nice thing is you have so many parts, and you can build these things for you specifically, which is really cool. So anyways, please subscribe if this is helping you at all, and I'm going to have a lot more videos coming up, especially showcasing how this bike does in comparison to brand new 300s, 200s, but most everybody up here rides 300s. And this thing, it keeps up and or does better. People are pretty blown away by it. But anyways, yeah, please subscribe, and we'll have a lot more videos coming up. Right on, man. Thank you. So one of the most important things that I did to this bike, it was an accident, and it was $20. So anyways, just to put that mystery away. So last year I started out with a front tire on the back, the same as this Michelin Starcross. Had it on the back, and I was just tired of the traction. I really wanted to try out the Trials tire. I didn't have a lot of hope. Everybody was saying it sucked energy. You know, you had to do all this work and everything else. Well, I didn't have a kickstand to begin with. That was one of the first things that came off. And so, and I think we went over the trials tire part, all that. So when I put that on, I also put on the sprocket. And when you put on a sprocket, a brand new sprocket, you always put on a brand new chain. It's just, that's what you do. You never put on an old chain with a new sprocket, otherwise you will not have a new sprocket for very long. So I went downtown, and we have one motorcycle shop in Sandpoint. And well, they're not that great. They didn't have an O-ring chain for me. And so I settled for a regular roller chain and put it on with the new sprocket, with the trials tire. And this thing was zippy. I could not believe how zippy it was. And then first ride, I couldn't believe how much charge, more miles I got out of a battery charge. Well, I never really thought about it anymore until the end of the year. I went back to the motocross tire and a brand new O-ring chain to ride the late fall with in the mud and early snow. And it was kind of sluggish. And it just hit me right there. It has nothing to do with the tire, of course. It was the chain. The difference between an O-ring chain and a roller chain is about, I'm going to guess, 10 to 15% power and battery savings. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If you've been running an O-ring chain and you throw on a roller chain, and I don't think I even got anything special. It was 20 bucks. Yeah. So I just, there's no way I'll run an O-ring chain. There's just no way. The roller chain is the way to go. And so anyway, food for thought. And again, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks.